we're going to go through kind of a bit of a mini agenda so you guys can get an understanding of what's going on behind the scenes. Obviously, the guys doing a great job of coaching. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes of that, as you can imagine. If we spent our whole lives just coaching, then the gym wouldn't be ready for you lot. So our role is to get everything prepped and ready to go. So as soon as we get that thumbs up from the government, then we're in a position that we can roll out straight away. That includes, actually, guys, can you put something on mute for us for a second?
Someone's doing the washing up somewhere.
Not me.
Not me.
So yeah, we want to just give you guys a bit of an idea of what's going on behind the scenes, fit out, studio layout, what the plans are moving forward. So as I said, when we get the go-ahead for hopefully, fingers crossed, the 4th of July, we might be in a position that you guys know where you are, how to book, all that kind of stuff. So no promises at this point, apart from being safe, but certainly open for discussion and good to have a chat with everyone about what you guys kind of are looking for, what your priorities are when we open, and what is at the forefront of your mind, safety-wise and system-wise, so we can adapt and make sure we're firing out the right product that we've always done.
We're going to send out a questionnaire as well on one of our type forms, just with a couple of questions, just asking you about your apprehensions or fears about coming back, just so if there's common themes, we can try and address that in a bit more detail. But we think we've got pretty much everything covered, but there might be a few things that collectively everyone raises that we may have missed. So there will be a questionnaire coming out in the next few days for you guys to fill out. And it's not a long one, it's just trying to understand, as I said before, your fears and apprehensions about coming out of your houses again.
What we'll do is we'll kind of start with, I know Dave, you as part of the conversation last time, we went through the current landscape of the fitness industry and where it is and where it's going and stuff. As you all know, Dan and I keep our hands very much in with a lot of local gyms, not local gyms because they're our competitors, but a lot of gyms out there, part of the IFBA, which has got over I think 100 gyms now, so we get a good understanding of what's going on. We don't have any frosty magic information or inside information as such, but we can certainly fill you in as to what's going on outside of this carnage. We've always used the word landscape. It's going to be a very, very different landscape moving forward. Not only as us as individuals, but as the industry as a whole. People are going to be far more concerned about their health, their well-being, so that's one positive, but also at the same time a lot more concerns over restrictions, health, and guidance with regards to general coaching, adhering distances, and how that all works moving into a facility where you've got, or you had, maybe 25 people at one time coming into the studio. That obviously is not going to be able to happen, certainly in the short term. So I'm just going to kind of go through, if any of you guys have got any questions, maybe just pop your hand up, and then you can unmute yourself, and then we can go from there. But Dan, if you want to touch base on a bit of the current landscape.
So we're trying to, it's not nicked from the government, but we've got our own phases of reopening, and our first phase is what we're doing at the moment. We've been trying to sort of send messages out there and pictures to let you guys know that we're cleaning, we're painting, we're just trying to get everything as fresh and as sparkly as possible. And you've seen probably on some of the pictures all these orange grids that are laying out on the floor that we're just tinkering around with the social distancing and the 2 meters. And John will go through that in a bit more detail with some of the images that we've got. But just so that you're aware, we have kind of our re-entry phases. First one being kind of studio. We've got a contract cleaner in place who is going to deep clean and then fog or mist the studio, which will be one of the last things that's done. So that's this kind of decontamination fog, which just gets and embeds itself into everything that makes sure that any viruses, not just corona, are dead. So everyone will be walking into the studio knowing that. And we'll have a certificate as well to prove that, which is quite good from a transparency and trust side of things. So that'll be super clean, that'll be the last thing. Phase 2 and phase 3 almost come into more operations and getting staff ready and all on the same page as to how we're going to manage people coming in the studio. I'm sure there'll be a couple of little teething issues at the beginning. And what we hope is that everyone's just a little bit more acceptance of that just over the first week or two. But there will be zones. The guys will be fully briefed on where you should be going. It'll be probably a little bit like herding sheep at the beginning, forgive my terminology, but there will be an element of you will be in that zone, Carol, you will be in that zone, Val, you will be in that zone, Penny, and that's where you'll stay for the duration of your session. And we're going to have the kit in that space for you to use, so there will be minimal crossing over once you're in your zone, and subject to hand sanitisation and cleaning equipment, but you'll have the equipment ready to go for you in that zone. So that's a very sort of quick, down, dirty, brief overview. It might be worth sort of pictures and just sort of showing you. Okay, this may change a little bit. We've got downstairs, you know, pretty much sort of 80% ready to go. We've just got to get the rigs attached to the walls. But yeah, we're not far off downstairs actually. Studio 1, Studio 2 is our next redecoration.
I think just so you're only going to kind of see my gut at a minute, but what essentially we're going to be talking about in a minute is this whole how the product is going to work when no one can share kit, no one can touch other people's bit of kit, and how does that all work in a personal training environment with groups of 3 or 4 people. Just to be clear, when we first do get the nudge, we will be opening to groups of 3, not 4. So therefore what you will have, there'll be personal training up to 3 people and 1 coach. So the most you'll ever have will be 6 people downstairs and 2 coaches. So when I show you these images and what you're going to look at in a minute, you'll see how we've managed to formulate that we can still have 3 people, and again, guided by the government, we'll adhere to what they say. It might have to be only 4 people in one whole gym. So we don't know, but we've certainly planned for it. I'm just going to share my screen, so therefore you can see what we've kind of got planned a little bit. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, I want to bring up a catchphrase. Okay, so let's just go through the first one, which is going to look a little bit like this. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what essentially we've done is everyone is going to be over, I think it's like 2.5 meters, something like that.
It's 100 square foot approximately.
Yeah, so the guidelines are basically 100 square foot per person. So I'll use my cursor to give you a bit of obviously an understanding. So what we've done,
some of those lines actually.
Yeah, so these have changed a little bit. So don't worry, there's no one training in this little zone here. You're all right. So essentially, you're going to walk through the door. On the right-hand side, we've still got that rig, but what we've done is we're going to be shortening these bars. So these will be closer to the window, so that will create a much bigger space in that area. Every area will have its set of horns, so all the discs will be lined up here. Everyone will have a foam roller, everyone will have a set of dumbbells, everyone will have a set of kettlebells, medicine balls within that particular zone. What we've also got is hand sanitizers. So we've got hand sanitizer going here. Sorry, not hand sanitizer, that's more for the kit. So we've got loads and loads of stuff to clean the kit after. We've also got a hand pump that's going to be going here that you can consistently or constantly wipe your hands however you wish to do that, but there will be no sharing of kit. So no one will have to borrow or go over to someone else's zone to borrow kit. The job of the coaches will be essentially to get the kit from other areas if need be. So the coaches will be armed fully with masks and gloves. So therefore they will have certain areas that they will stand in. So let's say we've got a group of 3 people here. What will happen is the coach will probably be standing something like here, and therefore they can coach 3 people. But what they're doing is they've got their own little coaching zone. So they will be in this area here. As you can see, we have purchased or we've moved the rigs around. So there's now a rig for every single person. So therefore, you don't need to move in a circuit-based environment. You can be literally in your one zone, and as Dan said, you will not have to leave that zone. So you'll have a hand sanitizer, you will have wipes for kit, everything kind of in that zone for you. As you move across the gym, you've got, again, this is a little bit different, it hasn't been updated yet, but you've got that rig there, which is currently still there. We've got another rig here that we've moved to this side. So that rig will be here. And then we've got the other rig, obviously, which is a new one, which is going to be here. So the two new rigs, one here and one here. Every rig will have a piece of cardio kit in it as well. So therefore, you will not have to share cardio kit either. And it's up to the coaches and us to make sure we put the right people in the right zone. So if someone's got back issues and they can't row, then we will not be putting them in a zone with a rower. So hopefully that's kind of clear. I think at this point it's very clear to say and fair to say, and the government are saying the same, we need to attack all of this together as a team, as a community, and take ownership. So there will be an element of you guys wiping down your own kit after you've used it, but at the end of every session, we've allowed, we'll talk about it in more detail later, 15 to 20 minutes in between sessions to wipe down, again, every single bit of kit that has been used. So although you'll be looking after your own zone and cleaning your own zone, we as coaches, whatever, we will have 15 to 20 minutes at the end of every session to wipe everything down. So therefore, there will be no crossover. That gives you an idea of kind of the main layout of Studio One. Any questions on that, guys, at the moment?
Nope.
Yes.
Go, far away.
How many rigs are there, John? I missed something. Are there 6?
There are 6 rigs, yeah.
So some of them are in smaller areas than others.
They're actually not, Carol. Just visually like that, they're not. We've mapped it all out. And it's pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, that layout isn't how it looks now.
Okay.
It's slightly different. So what you've got is this line is still here. So this person's got this whole area. And then this line here has been moved to about here.
Okay. So your cursor's not very visible. I think that's why I was a bit confused as well.
Because if you look at this whole zone here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 zones, and we've split 3, not 4.
Is this the first floor?
This is Studio 1 downstairs, yeah.
Yeah. So the gents loos, if somebody wanted to go to the gents,
yeah,
they just cut through, do they?
Well, again, depending on what the government say, we'll probably find that communal areas will be out of bounds.
Yeah, right.
So people have to spend a penny before they come in, or whatever they got to do before they come in.
Right.
Again, you know, I don't know what you want to say on that, Dan.
Well, it's the same as going to a supermarket, isn't it? It's one of those that, as long as everyone's cautious and, you know, if the guy does need to go to the lab, then we'll just have to manage it as coaches and make sure that if they aren't 2 meters away, then we move clients appropriately away. It's going to be one of those, we'll just have to see how that goes. We have got the loos upstairs, which is self-confined, so we could sort of just make all showers, loos downstairs not usable and direct everyone upstairs.
So everybody comes changed, and
there'll be little.
you leave your handbag or something in your little zone.
Correct. And we're going to put together our 10 commandments, which we'll sort of publish. Not yet, we haven't done them yet, but things like different shoes, for example. So we're going to ask everyone to bring in a pair of training shoes. So what they walk into the gym in, they won't be using in the facility. So little things like that.
Right.
We're putting survival kits together for you guys and for the staff, which sounds terrible, but it's not actual survival. It's like hand wipes and sanitizers and gloves and stuff.
Yeah.
So there will be a little goodie bag on sort of first session. That doesn't mean to say that we'll be providing that every week, but it's a kind of, this is what you're going to be starting with, and then month 2 we'll be in a different, to use the word again, landscape.
And obviously water, you just bring your own, and if you run out, that's tough.
Exactly. Yeah, water, unfortunately, from a hygiene perspective, we'll have to not use water. We are going to get, we're going to get some bottles in anyway, so people can purchase water if they want as a backup plan. But we're talking about sort of month one here until we get through July into August, and then hopefully social distancing's relaxed and we'll evolve again.
I think it's also fair to say that we're not, you know, if you look at most gyms that are going to get opened, they're saying that kind of we're looking at, you know, October before the big gyms will be opening. We're not a gym, and we've just got to be careful to see how we fit in that, because if gyms have got 500-600 people coming through their doors a day, we have probably a maximum of maybe 100. We had 125 people coming through the gym doors a day. So we can prove to the government, we can prove to our local authority that we are essentially personal training still. So we would like to think that we will be ahead of the game before everyone else. And we'll be kind of setting the standards as to what's expected. But, you know, we can only do what we can do. What people choose to do is up to them. But we will be very, very strict on making sure if you turn up with only one pair of trainers, you just won't be allowed to train. You know, it'll be very clear, it will be laid out, you'll all have an understanding of what the rules and regulations are. Because, you know, as we all know, all it takes is one person to not go against the rules. Something was to happen, and then suddenly we get shut down. So, you know, it's not just getting ourselves open, it's about preventing any form of spread within the facility. Because I think, as you all know, that will be absolutely detrimental. So everyone has to administer, and we will not be frightened to turn people away if they're not adhering to our guidelines.
Are you going to make people wait outside until everybody from the previous session has left? I appreciate you've got a 15-20 minute gap between sessions.
I think, yeah, that's fair to say that, you know, there's no loitering in the hallways. You come up the first flight of stairs. People can't hover and loiter there. So it will be a case of people going in and people going out, so there will be no crossover internally. If people want to cross over with someone outside of the studio, then that's up to them. But there will be certainly, you will know what time your appointment is. Let's say it's 7:45, and therefore you need to be rocking up at 7:45. You can't rock up at 7:30 and expect to come in, warm up, mobilise, foam roll, stretch while there's still a session going on.
Right. Yeah.
Do you get inspected before your opening, or do you just open?
There are, from what I gather, I think yesterday I actually saw spot checks are going to be. So we've obviously got to go with our moral compass as well as the guidelines of the government, but there will be spot checks. So yeah, we'll like anything, you just have to sort of roll out what you're going to roll out in the guidelines, and if anyone spot checks us, we've got to hope and know that we're doing everything we possibly can. And the one, logistically, the building doesn't suit itself for sort of people traffic, because we've got a flight of stairs, 2 flights of stairs, you know, so we're in a position where if we were ground floor, obviously, there wouldn't be quite the same problems. So we've even got in and out arrows and give way to the person at the top of the stairs. So, but some of that is still going to have to be down to individuals to kind of police that themselves. We can only do so much. If someone chooses to walk down the stairs while someone's coming up, then you know what? That's not our
Offense. Yeah.
So the sessions are still an hour, and then the 15 minutes in between, or are they 45 minutes and then the 15-minute changeover?
So there'll likely be 50 with a bigger gap. So we're now playing around with actually session start times. So in other words, where historically it's been 6:30, then don't take this as gospel. This is something we've got to fine tune with the booking system and talk to Estelle about it, because it might not allow us to do the times we want. But for example, it could be a 6:15 session for 50 minutes, and then a sort of 15 to 30. We've even thought about a 30-minute window in between to give us enough time to get people in, out, clean down. These are all little bits that this is our kind of next job. Once we've done the studio, we've got to knuckle down. In fact, tomorrow we've got a meeting with Estelle and Shazeen about timings of sessions and how that might work. So yeah, that sort of crossing over of people is going to be a tricky one, but we're thinking that 6:15-ish, and then group sessions, as in team sessions up here, will likely be staggered. So we might have a semi-private start at 6:15, and then a group con or a team training session of 6 to 8 people starting at 6:30 or 6:45. So that, again, don't take that as gospel. This is kind of our next. This is going to be a sort of a longer process to get that right, but we'll let you know as soon as possible on that.
So guys, they're not all going to be semi-private style sessions. Some of them are going to be group con style sessions, are they?
Yes, we want to, this is our next job, and we've started planning out the 2 metre, 100 square foot, and we hope and think that we can get 8 people in the same way that you'll have your equipment in your zone.
Upstairs.
Upstairs, yeah, but it will be more cardio, it will be more body weight, it will be more movement improved,
right.
Things like box fit and stuff. Pilates, stretch, yeah, again, maybe reduce numbers again just because of the floor space and the social distancing, but little things like box fit and HIIT, for example, where there's kind of on and off lots of different bits of equipment won't be there. It will be it will be a different program, similar components, but just a different sort of program for group cons. But we do want is different. We do want the kind of cardio style session in core, and then we want the strength predominantly as was.
And what about if you can't get, let's say, if you're reducing Pilates, which I think Graham was 8, would you still carry on a Zoom? So if you're unable to get in it, you can still watch it?
I think that's definitely something we're actually looked at with regards to just our general membership. So we will be looking at having additional Zoom sessions that people can have access to at certain times of the day. I think we're still going to look to run a coffee morning, all those kind of stuff. So we've actually learned that what we've done now is there's no reason why we can't keep doing some of that.
Yeah.
It just gives, again, added value to you guys that says that I can't get in for 6:30 because I've got a meeting, I've got to be in town, but I've got half an hour. I can get onto Zoom and I can watch a session for half an hour and get involved. So there's definitely going to be some of the stuff, some of the carryover from the stuff that we've been doing previously or currently.
I'm just going to quickly say that without it cannibalising what we're all about. You know, we're not an online, we're not a Zoom training provider, we're a small group. But obviously we've got to evolve and adapt, so there will be some of it, but it's not suddenly going to be flooded our program with loads and loads of Zoom sessions.
No.
Let's move on to the second floor. This will give you a bit more of an idea. I don't think you can see that, am I right?
We can't see
yet.
it. No.
No, okay.
Just while John's got that.
Guys, sorry, I've got to go and do yoga. I'll catch the rest of it on Facebook.
Thanks, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
Bye.
Anything else just while we're just waiting for John to get the screen up? We're all fairly good at the moment.
Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So let's just kind of go through how Studio 2 will work. As Dan said, again, there will be different starting times with regards to downstairs, so there'll be no crossover. As we can see, that's that normal orange column. You walk through the door kind of here, and everyone again has got their zones, again mapped out with the right social distancing. The way it will work is you've got a cardio kit here and then the opposite. So it then just goes from that point to there, all the way across. So it's like a kind of zigzag. So therefore you will not be next to anyone doing cardio. It will be programmed that there will be no crossover. So again, all in the programming. And we've also introduced TRXs. So therefore we can do full body weight suspension stuff. So it limits the kit. So what we'll be able to do, these TRXs will be again zigzag. They're not going to be all on one line. So what might happen, let's call it this station here that you can see by the window, we've got a rower. You then might move on to a core exercise here. and then you'll move on to a body weight strength exercise here. And then you'll just go back, there. So something like, we don't really like to use the phrase, but AMRAPs or EMOM, so AMRAPs, as many rounds as possible. So you'll have 10 minutes, and you've got to do 500-meter row, 20 sit-ups, 20 squats, back in again. So therefore you'll stay in your zone, but there'll be no crossover here. Again, hand wipes, gels, everything will be provided in every kind of section. Not every individual section here, but certainly within our kind of half, so it'll be split. One group over here, under the 4, and then again you've got the other 3 to 4 in this zone here.
Where is the coach?
The coach again, they will either be in one zone and be able to coach, or again, the good thing is with the coaches, there'll be masks and gloves. So therefore the coach can go across, but theoretically, there's no kit anymore.
No.
All we've got to do is demonstrate a bit of kit, a bit of an exercise. We might put one TRX on a column somewhere that's purely for the coach, so they can still coach that movement. You've got to remember, it's kind of personal training is very hands-on, and now we can't get hands-on, so we have to adapt how we do that. So then that's just a bit more food for thought. But the coach, there's no reason why the coach cannot be walking between the zones, because they will be fully gloved up, fully masked up.
Yeah.
But you know, it may be we have to have 2 coaches, one coach in one zone, one coach in the other zone. Has anyone got any questions about that?
No. Is there no intention of doing boot camps if in the beginning of June Boris says you can do outside exercise in groups?
Well, the short answer is yes.
Is that not on the cards?
As it stands, we can't, because it's only 1-to-1, and
Yeah. But from June, if he changes that.
Absolutely, yeah, it'd almost be a reversal of how we shut down. So if you remember, obviously you were there, Val, but we went from in studio to boot camps.
Yeah.
So we had planned that actually that might be our role reversal anyway.
Okay.
Even if it's 1-to-4 again. We've been, again, across our network of businesses, the gyms, there had been some chitter-chatter about outside and 1-to-4. So we had been thinking and planning about 1-to-4 at Stoke Park again, but obviously that option now has been taken off the table.
Yeah.
I think, well, as Dan said at the beginning, we've got to remember who we are at the same time. We are a small group personal training. We've never, ever allowed clients to do burpees, and now suddenly burpees are on the menu for every session. So we just got to remember who we are, why we are who we are, and what got us to the position that we're in now, which is high quality controlled training in a safe environment. And we've always said that, and it's just a case of us adapting and getting the trust over to you guys, or you guys be able to trust us that we've done our research, we know what we're doing, we're on the case, and we have your health and well-being as a top priority. But we're certainly, you know, then boot camps may continue, but it's definitely not going to be something that we're going to be actively pushing or promoting.
Yeah, certainly when social distancing is squashed, then boot camps won't. You know, we did the summer camp, which again might be something we do just a one-off every week, but it's not on our radar, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is going to start probably or hopefully from the 1st of July, so June will carry on as it has been doing.
In the media, actually, I'd say, I don't know why they've chosen the 4th of July, but it's the 4th of July, which I think sits on a Friday or something. So, you know, it makes sense if we can open on the 1st of July. That's what we'll push
That's
for.
because it's Independence Day.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Very powerful day to open. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, July is what we're making all our fingers and toes crossed for.
So those kind of images hopefully give you a bit of an idea of what we've been doing. Obviously, we've had to move a lot of the stuff from upstairs downstairs. We've had to measure it all out. We've repainted. As Dan said about the fogging. So when day one that you walk through that door, it's going to be absolutely crystal clean, which has to be the priority across the board, because they say that clutter is dirt. So there's no clutter. Everything is in its place. It stays in its place, and that goes same for downstairs as it does for upstairs. So no clutter at all. Anyone got any questions on that before we move on to our kind of next little bit? Everyone happy with that?
Yep. I've got a question about booking, but you may be covering that anyway.
We're far away, Penny.
Well, everybody knows who they are. People have in the past booked multiple sessions, then cancelled them at last minute or not turned up, and now you've got fewer places. Are you somehow going to be tighter on the booking and stopping people booking?
100%. 100%. There will be no back.
It's sort of a bit annoying. Well, it hasn't been annoying to me, but it has, I know, to a number of people.
Yeah.
There'll be no back-to-back sessions to start with, that's for sure. Because there's no need for people to be doing back-to-back sessions.
Yeah.
If you think about it, no one's doing realistically 2 hours of weight training at the moment on their own. So why would they come and do 2 hours up here? So it's an hour, or 50 minutes, whatever it is. And yeah, so that'll be the first thing. And we are going to have to change the kind of 90-day book ahead, because we know what will happen, exactly what you're saying, Penny, is people will blanket book all the way across and then not turn up. So we have to be very strict on the fact that people are not turning up. We have to be very strict on the booking system. Again, we'll be guided probably by Shazine and Estelle on that one, on what we can and can't do on the bookings. But 100% the bookings will be changed, they'll be stricter. And yeah, you won't be able to do your back-to-back sessions, and you certainly won't be able to do 9 to 10 sessions a week.
Also, Penny, on that, we've got a reduced number of members as well. So although our numbers in class are down, we're around 129, 130 members from nearly 200, or 189 was trialists. So there is that to weigh up as well, that numbers are down in class, but numbers are down from clients as well. So, and our priority is to make sure that we open with you guys that have supported us, and although, you know, we're a business, we still need people to come back. That's hopefully not harsh in saying that. We need people to come back that left, and we're going to need some new members. But the initial opening strategy is to make sure that you guys that have been with us all the way through this get your sessions. We've spoken about some marketing campaigns that we will do, but the initial opening will be, let's get the kind of community back in and doing what they loved. And not sort of really aggressively trying to just get loads of people back in because we financially need it. We're going to stabilise the ship, make sure that we're running a good product again, make sure you guys are happy and safe, and then obviously our marketing team will need to start.
Okay, good.
Hey Dave. I think you're still on mute, David.
Still there, mate.
Oh, is it okay now?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You're going to need to get new members or members back or new members in. I don't know if you guys are considering this, but the Zoom sessions you're doing, or the Facebook versions of the Zoom sessions, you know, they're really good sessions, but they're only available private. So I'm wondering if you've considered putting on your general Facebook page, it's open to the public, just a selection of it. Because a lot of people are doing home training now, from other gyms and all sorts of things, to get Field of Fitness exposed out there in the general market across Guildford, and then promote those videos across Guildford.
We've actually been approached by a number of people about our online as a paid service, and if we're honest, we've actually restricted people from using it because we didn't want it to devalue what you guys are supporting us through. But it is on our radar to have it as a separate product moving into whenever we can officially reopen. Right. So there will be a kind of strategy around, okay, what's our online presence, what's our Zoom, Facebook presence, and that, again, we're learning that this has worked, and you're right, the sessions have been great, so why shouldn't we capitalise on a broader audience? But we've refrained from anyone just coming in and paying whatever, 140 quid for online, when you've got others that have said, you know what, I'm with you on this one, guys, I'll pay my membership it just didn't sit right for us that we're trying to sell a product online now when you guys are all in a different sort of financial position trying to support us through it. So I hope that kind of answer in a round way.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I think, yeah, well, I can only speak for myself personally. I mean, I think I get my value from what you guys are doing and just want to support the gym anyway, where we'll go back to the personal training. But I think there are a lot of people out there at the moment that are like us, but not members of Field of Fitness because they're not aware of what goes on. It's quite a forbidding place. People won't wander into Field of Fitness because you open the door and you look at a staircase, so no one's going to wander in to see what's going on. So I just thought it was an opportunity on your open place, just to post 3 or 4 sessions and pin them, and just see who sees them. And it didn't cost you anything. It doesn't. I don't think it detracts from any of your existing members because it encourages other people to come in and see what the place is like. That was all really. Just a bit of additional marketing without being too covert about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you limit it to, as David says, 2 or 3 sessions as examples.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what like Dan hit the nail on the head, that we've grown a business on looking after people and making the right decisions at the right times and being very ethically correct. And yeah, it's a good thing for us to get it to grow the business, but the problem is if they were to inquire and they go, I'd like to join up when you come back and do a 30-day trial, we say, actually you can't because our members are our priority. So we've got to be careful that we don't throw out a carrot to someone that says, this is what we do, we're great, we're amazing, but actually we can't take you on because our current members are our priority. So I think you're right, Dave, it would be great for us to use as a marketing tool, probably once you guys are back in the game. So once you guys are back in, you're the priority, you stuck with us throughout this, so we want to make sure you get your sessions and not 20 other people that are now on a trial who have not been with us all the way through the process. They're then taking the kind of valuable slots that you guys would want to have. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword because it's great to get them in, but then we don't want to provide a crap service by not being able to get them in when we get them in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're right, brand awareness side of things, that's different. That's great. It's just showing people what we do in the studio and you kind of build that brand awareness side. So I think that's definitely worth thinking about. Doesn't mean to say like the jab hook or the kind of drip feed of information to people. They'll make the decision when they want to make the decision. It might be 2 months later because they saw something in May, and then July, August they're like, I'm ready to take action. So I kind of appreciate what you're saying, Dave. It's a kind of brand awareness once or twice a week. I think that, but yeah, without actually selling, I suppose.
I mean, I suppose if you could use Dan's little FOF as an example. That was posted on the main Facebook page. Probably got a good 300 to 400 views of the sessions that he was doing with his kids. So there's definitely, there is a market there. We just
an adult version of that.
So you'll notice we had we had a long chat with our kind of marketing lady yesterday, and she said just to hold off everything for the moment and just do our own social media posts and boost them and so on. So you'll notice that we've started to put up loads of images of what the studio's looking like and building a picture and building a trust outside of there. That Field of Fitness are the ones that are getting themselves prepared. They're ahead of the wave. They're leading by example. And therefore, when we are open, we're ready to go, we're the ones that people want to go to. Does that answer that, Dave?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think one of the questions was about the diary, wasn't it, and opening up sessions.
Yeah.
It's kind of been covered.
Yeah. Has anyone got anything else, rather than just kind of rabbiting on, has anyone got anything else?
Can I ask a quick, just a quick question about the format of the semis? They used to run, I think it was, wasn't it? You had 4 different types of semis, and they ran on a rolling program. So one type was for 2 days. Does that make sense? I think is that going to be the basis of how the semis are going to run going forward?
John's been doing the programme, so it's...
yeah, I mean, it's going to be very... We've got to remember what we don't want to start putting in is press-ups, body weight squats, burpees, because you've been doing those for bloody 9 weeks. So people are going to want to come back and do proper strength training.
Yeah.
We are going to be coming back and being really focused on proper strength training. That's why everyone will have their own individual rig. So therefore, you can do the Olympic lifts, we can do the bench presses, we can do the chin-ups, we can do the squats, the deadlifts, all the main big proper strength training movements, which is what we've always wanted to do. So we've had to just adapt the layout to enable you to be able to do that. So you will be doing strength training. There will still be one main movement per exercise per session. There'll still be your accessory work because that is still very important to make sure you do your kind of prehab and rehab bits. But 100% we'll be focusing right out on the strength rather than we will be going down the kind of Metcon route, if you like.
Yeah, and just to clarify, will it be, whereas before, say for instance, you would have with the semis, there'd be the same program would be Monday, Tuesday, then it would be a different program Wednesday, Thursday, and that would be on a rotation. Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah, again, it depends, because if we are telling people that they can't come in 4 or 5 times a week, then we've got to make sure the program is applicable to all. So there'll be either a choice of doing 3 programs and repeating that, which is what we're currently doing, or we could go down the route of a different program every day.
Right.
Again, we'll have to just kind of play around with that. I think there's no harm in doing both, actually. We could probably set up a different program every day quite easily, but then we want to make sure you guys are kind of fully encouraged to train. You're not going to be coming in doing the same thing all the time either.
Yeah.
Part of it also is we're going to have to role play it out, which sounds a bit odd in a gym, but we're going to have to, although the Pro John's already started the program, we're going to have to actually see how that feels and what it looks like. Logistically works. It should be fine, but like we've done with every other program, we get the team together and we all go through it. We kind of make changes. We all have our input. You know, we'll have to do a whole chunk of that, but then we're going to have to role play it through when we can, just to make sure it works. Because it is so different.
Thank you.
I think we kind of covered everything. Hopefully, certainly from our point of view, we had the kind of training pods, the possible opening, our vision, the current landscape of the gym environment or the industry, separating of the kit. Obviously, we can't stress enough how you guys got to take ownership. You know, we need everyone to be adults, which I think we all are. We all know what we should and shouldn't be doing. It's quite straightforward. But I think we'll also just take this opportunity to say, from both obviously Dan and myself, how grateful we are to have a community like you guys who have helped us through this, because without you, we wouldn't be sitting here right now talking to you. The support you've given us has been absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, we can't thank you guys enough for that. I hope we're doing our bit behind the scenes to make sure that we're up and ready when you guys are.
Could I just do a very quick straw poll on, as obviously staff-wise, we don't do this, but if hopefully when we open on July 1st or 4th, would you guys be happy to walk through that door and come and train? If you could say yes, hands up, or if I don't see a hand, I'll assume not. So it's only David, you're not happy to come? That's cool.
Come, but I'm just a bit cautious on it, I think. I'm not happy with what you're doing, I'm very happy with what you're doing, but I've got to see how it all sort of pans out, I think, which is why I'm keen on the Zoom thing continuing, because I'm using that a lot, and I find it quite satisfying to do anyway. So I'm quite happy doing that. Because the trouble is, when you come in, even in the environment you're in, a bit of a community thing's not going to be the same, obviously, it can't be, because you're going to, someone else you might want to chat to is down the other end of the gym, so unless you loiter outside, you're not really going to get to sort of chat to people like you do before, you know, so don't take it wrong, it's not, I'm saying, I don't want to think, I don't think I'll rush in on the first day of July or whenever it actually opens. I'll probably leave it a couple of weeks and then I will start coming in.
You changed, Dave. I thought you'd be the first one.
So did I.
I'm training, mate. I'm still doing lots of training. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thank you for all your training and your Zooms and your classes and stuff like that. Really, really enjoyed that. Enjoying it, I should say.
Yeah, good. Well done.
So,
Being motivated
and,
to do it.
and all the borrowed equipment, at what stage are you planning for us to start returning?
Good question. Yeah, we spoke about it yesterday actually. We're going to need it all back in by 1st of June. So we're going to.
Oh, really? Okay.
1st of June or 1st of July?
No, 1st of June. We can't just get equipment in and then open a day later. We've got to make sure that it's okay to use. We've got to clean it. We've got to get it in the pods that we want to. We've got to go through the role play with the guys. We can't just leave it up to even a week. We want it there, ready, cleaned, good to go. So that might seem a bit sort of too much forward planning, but we'd rather be in a position where we've got everything for 3 to 4 weeks than just a day before. You know, it might be that it takes a week to get all the kit in, because best will in the world, by telling people that we need the equipment on Monday, we won't get it all on the Monday. There'll be people that just physically can't do that. So it'll be probably a week of no crossovers, here are the times, maybe just booking people in time slots. So that in itself is going to be a job, getting all the bits of equipment back. So yeah, that'll be 1st of June approximately.
Can I ask you when the Puri order is coming in?
Yeah, that was ordered yesterday because we had yeah, they don't take orders at the weekend, unfortunately. But yeah, Estelle, if you want to dip in here, Estelle, feel free to.
So that's likely to be at the gym. So maybe when I drop my weight off, I can collect my.
It's normally a 5-day turnaround on Puri. It comes from, is it Denmark?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And luckily, we're one of the only, the UK are one of the only people they're actually delivering to. I think it's like 3 or 4 people they're delivering to countries. Anything else to add on that, Estelle? Is that pretty?
Yeah, so once it's physically in, Rosie, we'll get
Right.
sort of in touch with everyone that ordered stuff and work out best way to get it to you, whether it's at the studio or how it's best. So I'll get in touch as soon as it's in.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
I think it's also safe to say that you can imagine if the kit-wise we get the kit back and then suddenly we find out, crikey, we're short of a pair of 2 kilo dumbbells or 4 kilo dumbbells, you can't just pick up the phone, order them and expect them to be here next week. We've got to wait till the first week of June until we can have the kit that we've ordered. So there's a long wait, as you can imagine, because everyone's buying every single dumbbell, kettlebell, TRX that's out there. So we have to fully plan for that. We don't want to end up being short and we go to open on day 1 and we haven't got what we need to have. So
Carol had a question as well. Sorry, Carol.
Yeah, just about returning our weights. Are you going to, you know, arrange some sort of staggered way? Obviously, we don't want to all be arriving at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We'll sort that out. We're the same thing, really. It will have to be a kind of well-oiled machine, a military operation to get it all back, even down to just members of staff being here and being 2 meters away, and you know that whole you know the usual part. But yes,
I'll be on the door, Carol. Don't worry, I'll be making sure.
I need some help.
No, I won't be for that. We've stopped everyone else coming at the same time.
No, you'll be there to help me. You'll be there to help me.
are we sort of fairly happy? Done? Any other questions, or is that a good time to get back to work?
I just wanted to echo Rosie's comment earlier to say thank you so much for all the wonderful Zoom classes and everything. I mean, they're brilliant, and they've really helped me stay positive during this time. So thank you.
Well done, team, and thank you, Carol.
Yeah, and a third from me as well on that.
And me, definitely.
Like the hair, Richard, or lack of.
What's wrong with that, Carol?
It's a good look. It's a good look.
Right, we're going to crack on painting, get ourselves prepped and ready for you.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.